actually close enough. So we'll turn that off there and jump to the BGA. What's the... oh, lights are on. I'm definitely preparing for some rain. Okay. Should bring the rain on quicker. Should also digest the bales quicker as well. There we go. It's right. Windshield wipers in this thing don't work. If we jump back to this tractor, we have operating windshield wipers. I don't know whether this has. Nah. Game thing, so that won't. Unfortunately, with Farm Sim 19, I've seen so little weather and none on any map that I'm running a mod tractor. I really don't know if any of the mods have operating windshield wipers or not. Oh, that's the fork camera. That's the vehicle camera. It's nice set of bale forks. Not only does it have auto load on it, but it has its own camera view. For the longest of time I never actually used the auto load function on this. I still haven't figured out how to get it to pick up 3 square bales rather than just 2. This is digesting stuff much faster than I can load it. So we will be able to sell, in theory, all of these. Oh. have bought the Anderson DLC, but I have not had a chance to use it on any of the farms I play. I haven't played much Farm Sim since Tuesday. I played New Bartleshagen on Tuesday, but that's just big fields, big map. Nothing to bail. And yesterday I was actually considering playing Mercury Farms, because Arthur started at 7 and obviously I didn't get to start anything until after 8:30, but he decided he was going to go run to 9:30. So at that point I figured, well, I'll get an hour in. But it was kind of looking as sort of, he's going to be leaving in 20 minutes, so I probably won't do that. So that was kind of fun. Running around unloading harvesters. And because he's sort of combined a lot of the groups together. On the map as a whole there's 4 harvesters. I believe he owns 2 of them. So we can now get work done a lot quicker. No, we are potentially 1 or 2 cows short of the 20 we need to complete that achievement. And so, since cows only breed during the summer, I now have to play through this one. What would it be? The rest of fall, and then all of spring and into the next summer. Now winter months go very quickly. I may play through them without streaming them if I get a chance, because it's really just feed your animals and mix TMR and pretty much nothing else. Last couple of years on this map there hasn't been any snow, or at least not much in the way of snow. So there's nothing to do with snow. There is winter, you know, because I've got 6-day seasons. There will be 6 days of winter, but you can't work your fields, you can't plant anything, you can't sorry, yes. I'm not actually sure. It doesn't look like that long a delay. Unload. I mean, ordinarily I have sort of winter I play at 120 times speed, because there really is not a lot to do except, as I said, feed the animals. But once we get to spring we're going to have next year's corn.
Did you drink my
No.
milk? Did you drink
No.
my milk?
No, I didn't.
Maybe Holly did.
Maybe Harley did. Maybe the ghost did.
A ghost in it.
Okay then. So yeah, come spring we're going to have to start working the fields again. Oops, great demands for corn. I don't have any corn for sale, I'm afraid. The only corn I have needs to feed the pigs. Right, yeah, I mean I'm working on a high-speed cable network, and so I mean watching the stream, I've just got to the bucket and to one I'm looking at about 3-second delay. But as they say, your mileage may vary. But yeah, spring will have obviously crop preparation. We'll have the last round of fertiliser on the fields that we're going to plant over the next day or two. And then summer's also kind of a low spot. I mean, in the past I've spent summer chopping down forests and reseeding them. And maybe I'll do that, because it's got to be, goodness me, I couldn't even tell you. I started this series with some logging, but that was basically finishing off the forest that's over by the sheep farm. And was to just demonstrate me doing foresting. And from there we just continued, and then obviously Farm Sim 19 got released, and I suddenly had a desire to complete the last 2 achievements for Farm Sim 17 before I moved over wholesale. And we're now getting to the point where Farm Sim 19 has a lot of mods that I tend to rely on. I'm guessing the other one drank the milk. That's the problem. I give them a glass of milk and they won't drink it. I give them a quarter of a glass of milk and they complain that it's not enough. It's a lot easier to give them a quarter glass of milk and then to ask for more than it is to give them a glass of, a full glass and then to not drink any of it. Yeah, I have 2 PCs on my desk. One is my work computer, provided by my employer, and the other one is my gaming rig. So I'm actually watching this on the work computer. Which is kind of handy. But yeah, so we've now got Follow Me, we've got the BioBelt's Log Claw, or Lawfolds for front loaders, which I've relied on quite heavily in the past. Where is that? Oh, I see. And then, most of the rest of the stuff is equipment, which isn't, much in the way of importance. If you when you boil it down, a tractor's a tractor. 100 horsepower tractor is a 100 horsepower tractor, and it doesn't really matter from a gameplay aspect what colour it is and what manufacturer's logo's on the side. And it's how some of the not Farm Sim farming games get away with it. They have a big tractor, a medium tractor, and a small tractor, because in essence, to play a farming game, that's all you really need access to. However, Farm Sim has, or Giants Farm Sim has a good stock of equipment manufacturers which they've licensed, and so you're not stuck driving a big Massey Ferguson, a medium New Holland, and a small Fend case or whatever. So it stopped, but the crop's still wet, so we'll keep the time lapse going. But I appreciate, I'll appreciate the equipment. I really do like the the class Axion, although I'm not going to be playing it on Oldstream Farm because you don't need a 300 horsepower tractor on a small farm. It's kind of an extravagance. I think the biggest tractor I used on Oldstream in Farm Sim 17 was a T7 New Holland. The first time I played it, I played a New Holland farm, and then no, other way around. First time I played it as a Fent farm, and then obviously version 2 of the map got released with the extra fields and what have you, so I shelved that playthrough and played it as a New Holland farm. And then Seasons was released, and I'd already started the game, that particular map twice, so I figured, oh, okay, as soon as I'm done playing Oldstream without Seasons, I'll move on to a different map. And I looked at Oakfield, and kind of didn't... It's a good map, and I could probably have played with it more, but I wasn't really invested. Yeah, I didn't really get invested in it. I look at a map and I really need to have an idea of, okay, what am I going to do on this map? And this one I started off, it's the only map I've really played heavily with Seasons from Farm Sim 17. And it's not a Seasons ready map. But you start with a ton of starting equipment, 10 fields, and there's a lot of forestry. So I figured I can supplement my income with silage bales and forestry for the first year to make sure I can afford to run the equipment, I can afford to buy the fertiliser and the seed for 10 fields. And once we got through the first year, this map kind of got a lot easier. Obviously it's taken me time to build up the animals and build up the equipment to where I've got it today. I spent the first 2 years with no harvester. I leased it for 2 days during the fall. It wasn't till about the third year, or the end of the second year, that I said, oh well, I can probably afford to have a harvester sitting around for 90% of the year in order to, so that I have it, kind of thing. And thanks for the cheers, White Hawk. Come on, drop. But now 19 has a good supply of maps, and maps that are interesting. It's got more of a draw now. And we're what? It's March, end of March. I believe the game was released very, very close to my birthday, which is in December. So we're 3 months in. And the crazy thing is most of the farms that are coming out that I want to play on are old Farm Sim 17 farms. Like Oldstream, like Oakfield. I mean, Mercury Farms for me was a kind of make-do. It's not a farm that I wanted to play. It has some gimmicks in it, but I think it does make for a good streaming farm because the fields are small. Was it really that long ago? The first patch came out in December. Then yeah, so okay, so we're about 4 months in. That's good. But yeah, obviously the game is... I mean, the game itself has a 24-month lifespan, 2 years. So we've got a long way to go for it, but it's taken... a sixth of its lifespan just to get to a point where some of the more interesting mods are being released. And we're still a few months away from seeing seasons. It's probably going to be closer to the fall, late summer, fall, because I believe they're planning on releasing a map, the parameters of which have been designed or defined for the mod contest, and seasons will form part of that submission. Because obviously, I'd agree with them in that it's not really fair to enter seasons this year as the mod, considering they kind of won it last year with it. Oh, great supply for wool. Great demand for wool. I think I've got a pallet, half a pallet of wool. It's kind of a case of, well, you won the competition last year. Why don't you try something different this year? And obviously, everyone's still clamouring for seasons in 19, so they're going to produce that. But they are spending time working other stuff too. That's cool. No, that's okay. We'll sell these, and then we'll check on the digestate tank. Oops. Let's lift that up a bit more. There we go. I'm not sure how many, what state the bales in that second bunker are in at the moment. So, not bad. We're up to £153,000. Not enough to buy any of the fields that still require to be harvested that I don't own. Assuming the farmers didn't do that while it was raining. The game cheats. There's two in there. Pull in there, and then we can't see a thing. 615, so that'll put us on 623. So we're down to less than 200,000 to fill up that tank. Should have some ramps over here. Belts. Did I take them to the farm? Is that what I'm using on my main farm? Or on the cow farm? Oh. Yeah. It's silage. That's good. That's silage too, and we'll check the front. Oh, there we go. That's still grass, less than an hour. Okay, so I am going to need to bring back or buy some new conveyor belts for when we actually build the silage. But for now, I think we're done with this. Only grains for CCM. I definitely don't have any CCM. Okay, for those of you who are interested, CCM is a mod that Giants released, which is corn cob mix. It's feed for pigs. Basically what you do is you harvest the corn per normal, but you put it into a special auger wagon which increases the crop volume. You take the corn cob mix, so it's basically everything, not just the corn, the little yellow bits of corn, and you throw it all into this auger wagon. You take it over to a silage clamp, you drop it all in there, you compress it, and you cover it over, and a day later, possibly 2 days with seasons running, you end up with CCM, which you then feed to your pigs or sell. So there was wool for sale. There's not a lot of wool for sale, is there? Oh, it's not tracking because they're not producing. Okay, let's jump over to the what's his name? That guy. That looks like a double fork. It's not going to be a lot of money, but we might as well. Take it on the tractor. Okay, that's the big fork. That's the other mod I would like, is the quick look mod, which I use to move my view out in my camera angle quickly. Built. Slightly. Turn that on. We'll get inside and go to the store. Field on the right left is not mine. Still has crop in it. But Balexian's busy for now. Oh, there we go. Stop that there. Well, let's go find the harvester. So, let's get him started. Yeah, normally I wouldn't waste so much time just taking one bale of, or one crate of sheep wool down to the market, but since there's a great demand, it sets me back to 0 for spring next year. Yes, seasons mod. No animals breed during winter. So pigs, cows, sheep, no breeding. Sheep breed during spring, so they will start producing more sheep during the spring days. Sheep produce wool during spring and summer only. So for the rest of the year they're kind of a burden because you have to feed them and they're not getting you any income. Cows breed during the summer days and they produce milk all year round, but they produce less milk during the summer because obviously they're feeding babies. Also during seasons, animals that require straw, so not sheep, require more straw during the winter months. So if you load up straw on the last day of winter, that straw is good for almost to summer. Now the seasons mod only allows you to load up the animal feed troughs, water troughs, that sort of thing for 3 days rather than the standard game 6. So you have to come back every 3 days, but so getting a bunch of straw into the pigs and cows on the last day of winter, especially late on the last day of winter, like sort of 4 or 5 o'clock. Well, it takes time to sell them, doesn't it? There we go. That's all done. Means that you don't have to worry about straw until the summer, which was in good stead last year because I ran out of straw and I was only feeding my cows a silage hay mix in the TMR. I didn't have any straw spare to give to them. Now, what's the other change? Water. Animals require far more water during the summer than they do in the winter. So once again, if you water them on the last day of summer, that water will last all the way through to almost winter. And it's sort of minor changes like that that makes seasons a little bit more interesting. Did they increase the prices to make up for not having 24/7 production? No. This map has a very favourable economy. Now I am running in hard mode and it is not hard to make money on this map. But I think the prices are in general a little bit higher than a lot of other maps. But there's no... The only benefit is, I think they did... One of the reasons they do increase milk production in the winter is because you can't grow crops and you can't store grass at all. Grass lasts for about 2 days before it's completely decayed. In bale or in loose form. So I'm going to be able to feed grass to the cows on the last day of fall, and that's pretty much it until at least mid-spring, and even then the yield isn't great because obviously the grass completely resets to almost zero growth over winter. So first day of spring, grass starts growing. You're not going to get it to full height until the first day of summer, 100% yield. But that's not to say that you can't cut it on about the third day of spring when it'll be at about 33% yield. So you just have to cut more of it. But yeah, that's the thing. So at that point you can start feeding grass to the cows again. So there is an increase in milk production, and part of that is because obviously grass is missing from their feed over the entire winter. However, with Farm Sim 19 that's not actually an issue, because rather than being additive, let's go and look at the cow thing. So for the cows, this is the cows. They have grass, silage and hay, and power food. 20% of the food they use is grass, 50% is the silage, hay, and 30% is the power food. And you'll see that reflected in their reproduction rate and their production of manure and milk. Manure itself is only produced if you give them straw. So if there is 0 straw in the cow's shed, then you will not get manure. And you will also get a drop off in production of liquid manure, milk, and breeding rate. Well, and that's the thing. You've got to think about... do I need to finish where I was going? So, no, for Farm Sim 19, they've said grass is 25% production, silage hay is 75% production, power food is 100%. But it only takes the best. So if you load your cows with all 3, they'll only eat the power food. They'll ignore the silage and hay, they'll ignore the grass, until all the power food's gone. And then they'll start on the silage hay, and their production drops by 25%. So that's a deal there. Now, one of the things to remember about seasons is I'm playing a 6-day season, so 1 month is 2 days. 2 months is 1 month is 2 days. Yeah, no, 1 month is 2 days. So in this game, 1 day is 15 real-time days. So at that point, I kind of look at it and say, so what you're telling me is my grass will decay in 1 month. Okay, maybe I can live with that. Now I do know for 19 I was reading that they've changed that function. You can't make hay immediately. Hay is not something that you can get out of a field from the start of the game. What you're going to have to do is dry out the grass in order to make hay. So I don't think that grass is going to decay in Seasons 19. What's going to happen is grass is going to convert into hay, and potentially a tedder will make it quicker, or would indicate that you want to convert the hay to grass. Sorry, the grass to hay, but it's going to take time. Much like in 17, a silage bale without seasons running takes no time at all. You wrap the bale, it's now silage. With seasons running, it takes 1/3 of a season. So for me, 2 days, which is why when I was down at let's jump into that. When I came over here and used the handy electronic device and walked up to here, oh, that's now silage now. What about the bottom? So that's now converted to silage. But the thing was at the time that we looked at it a little while ago while it was still raining, that was still silage with grass with 1 hour left to brew before it became silage. And it's the same length of time for a silage bale to convert as it is for the BGA bunker to convert, or the silage clamp to convert. Once I wrap that up, it's going to take 2 days. In the normal game, it takes 24 hours. Normal being without seasons running. Your fault. Let's go and find the class. So, if you make allowances for the fact that time is passing a lot faster. Some people say, oh, it's unrealistic to cut the grass, ted it, and wrap it as hay immediately. But if you think one day is 15 days of real world, I don't think it's beyond the realms of cutting the grass, tedding the grass, baling the grass over a course of 2 weeks. If anything, it's the amount of time that passes per day, technically. So, yeah. Now, as I said, I don't know how. I'll just leave that. How it's all going to work with, does grass stay grass and degrade, or does grass slowly convert itself to hay? Which technically doesn't matter, because all of the animals that take grass also take hay, so they'll be happy to have hay. But we'll have to see the proper mechanic of it. Obviously things like vehicle wear and tear is now included in the game. It was introduced in Seasons. So rather than having... Where's my harvester? Let's take over this job. Let's wait until he's driven through the crop before we take over this job. So yeah, in the base game, Farm Sim 17, there was just a daily charge for each piece of equipment. For Seasons, what they did was they made it, there's still a base charge for each piece of equipment. But I have to service the vehicles every 30 hours of driving, or every 30 days, 24 days. For my current season settings, basically once a year. There's 24 days to a year for the way I've got seasons set up on this. So once per year you have to do an oil change. So for things like the harvester, I don't use it that much. It's probably used about 4 hours a year, maybe a bit more. But even if you say it's used 6 hours a year, in 24 days time I have to service it anyway. So just before I start the harvest, it gets a service, and then I leave it until next year and I'll service it just before the harvest again. Obviously with Farm Sim 19, vehicle maintenance is now part of the game. You don't get charged a daily fee for your equipment, you get charged if you use it, which is actually more friendly. Although Seasons could introduce back an annual service, so if you don't use a piece of equipment, it may degrade very, very slowly over the course of a year. As I said, that's a potential thing they could do. I know they're also planning to do something with weeds, but I'm not sure the details of that. I don't know that anybody's said anything. Correct. If you put hay or straw bales in the bottom, yes. Yeah, and that's something Seasons did. You have to have a prepared map, is the comment there. So if I was to play this on the last iteration of Oldstream Farm, which was prepared for Seasons, so long as I put my straw or hay in a hayloft, then it will not degrade. My straw hay in a hayloft, it won't decay. Whether it's loose or bales, if I leave it on a field, even in bale form, it will get destroyed. Because obviously your bales sitting in a field are going to get wet, they're going to get rotten. So you need to store them in an environmentally friendly place for what bales considered to be environmentally friendly. Now, on this map, because it was never prepared for Seasons, what Seasons does is, because it doesn't know that that the map has not been altered to tell it where the buildings are, it says, okay, I'll make allowances. If you have loose hay, straw or grass anywhere on the map, it will get destroyed over time when it rains. So I could put loose straw in a barn, and as soon as it starts raining, that straw would get destroyed. The compromise is if you make it into bales, then it will not get destroyed when it's raining. And I can leave those bales out in a field because game doesn't know where my barns are, or I can put them away. Now, to honour the idea of what Seasons is attempting to achieve, I always put my bales in a shelter, so that I don't, I could leave them on a field, but I don't. And that's just a sort of a realism thing on how I'm playing this playthrough. Also, rather amusingly, I have to be very careful when I am loading up the TMR mixer. If I put hay or straw in my TMR mixer, I can drive it across a yard while it's raining and it doesn't get damaged. As soon as I put the first bale into that TMR mixer, it's loose hay or straw. And at that point, the rain will start destroying it in the TMR mixer until I put something else in there and it stops being strictly hay. It starts being a mix of stuff. So on this map, I have to put silage into a TMR mixer if it's raining first, because silage doesn't get destroyed by the rain. And once I've got my silage in there, I can add hay and I can add straw, and that component doesn't get destroyed by the rain. I did watch, it was one of Daggerwin's Oakfield farm playthroughs where he was running it with Seasons. And the cows need fed, so he'd go to the barn, he'd get some hay bales on the front loader, and he'd drive across the yard, and you could watch the hay bales being destroyed by the rain, which was kind of funny. And I don't think he ever realised that's what was happening, but it proved the point that you don't want hay and straw outside of a barn, loose or baled, if it's raining. And you kind of got into a habit, I'm guessing for 15, I never played Farm Sim 15, but for Farm Sim 17 you kind of got into a habit of, I can't plough I can't harvest my fields while it's raining, so I need to find something else to do. I know, I'll feed my animals. And Seasons changed that, because all of a sudden, no, you can't run hay over to your sheep field, because by the time you get there, half the hay's gone. Who's that? Hi Paul, how you doing? Is that specific to this map only? No, it's specific to any map that never got modified for Seasons. What Seasons has is what's known as a snow layer. And it's basically it's kind of like a mat on the map, and you put that mat down on roadways and inside of barns. And when Seasons is running, it looks at the map and says, where that mat is where I shouldn't let it snow. And by extension, I will assume that it's all barns as well. So you can store your bales or your straw and hay inside the area of a barn. And the funny thing is you could probably store it on the roof of a barn if you could get your front loader up there, and it would not get destroyed, because as far as Seasons figures, you have your bale is stored inside a barn and is thus safe from rain. Hush. You do need the light on because it's raining outside and it's dark. watching cartoons.
Oh, it's not.
So, you can say hello to people?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry guys, she's not going to say hello to you.
Hello.
But yeah, it's not specific to this map only, it's just this map was never modified for seasons. The map maker himself, who created this map, stopped making maps really soon after releasing this one. It did receive one update, but it was released pretty much 2 years ago, around about now. So,